Before I get into additional thoughts on Exmilitary, I want to ask a question from you guys, the community. One of the things I really like about my channel is that I do additional thoughts. You know, this kind of came up naturally about a year, well, whenever it was, a while ago, right? Started doing additional thoughts where listening to albums more than just the reaction, spend some time with it, come back, kind of report back, watch videos, watch interviews. I really like additional thoughts. I really like spending more time with the album, so on. I think that kind of separates me from other channels. I need to figure out a thumbnail format for these videos. Now, keep in mind who I am and the channel. I'm not going to do the crazy YouTube edits or the thumbnails. I hate that shit. It drives me nuts, right? So I don't want to do anything like that. I like that my reaction videos are basically just a split screen of my face and the album cover. Really simple, really straightforward. I just can't figure out a good thumbnail idea for additional thoughts. Now, I'm not asking somebody to do it for me. I can do it. I can't come up with an idea. So if you have an idea, leave a comment, let me know, okay? We'll try and make additional thoughts get a little bit more traction because I think they're fun. With that said, additional thoughts, Exmilitary. I'm kind of going to just geek out over a song. Much like I became obsessed with Hold My Liquor from Kanye about a year ago, I have become obsessed with a certain song called Beware. I don't even know where to begin. I've got a couple notes here for other things, so I guess I'll touch on the other things. I will still stand by the opinion that I think the back half of Exmilitary loses a little bit of steam. Now, it's a phenomenal album, so don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it. I really enjoy this album. And the back half did grow on me a little bit. What was it? Let's see what are some of the tracks here. Blood Creepin'. I really like Blood Creepin'. Known for It and Through the Walls. Those two grew on me a decent amount. I'm still not like in love with them like I love the first half of the album. But I enjoy them. I listen to them. I don't skip them. So, I mean, really, for the most part, the only thing that kind of feels out of place is 5D, but that's just a short little filler track, so it doesn't really matter. This whole thing, from top to bottom, is basically no skips. Exmilitary. What else do I have? Oh, I remember on the reaction during Culture Shock, I was trying to listen to the beat and maybe the sample and thinking, oh, I said something about how it sounded like Crystal Method. Put on 9 Inch Nails, and the track is called Me, I'm Not. Listen to that song. That's the song I was thinking of. I misplaced it for Crystal Method, but after the reaction, I was thinking about it, and I found the song I was thinking about. So just put that track on. Don't really think about it as a sample, but just listen to the beat and how it's constructed, and then listen to Culture Shock. And you can hear some similarity. I'm not saying one took from the other or anything like that, but it was just my brain drew that parallel between those two songs because they sound pretty similar in that sense. Watch some music videos. Tachyon was crazy. Watching the music videos definitely helped me understand the drug use that is happening because I was going against that in the annotations on Genius, talk about how seemed like almost every annotation I clicked on to try and get some in-depth explanation for some of these cryptic lyrics, they were saying, oh, it's drugs. And I was pushing back on that, saying, nah, I think he's more talking about making music and things like that, but there's definitely some drug use happening. There's no question. What else? Okay, let's just geek out on Beware, okay? I went back and read the lyrics a couple times because they're incredible. It's like a part of Revelation that they're like, well, take that part out. It's a little too intense. Well, we won't put that in the book of Revelation. We'll leave that out, And the more I listened to it, and the more, I didn't read the lyrics a lot. I read them a couple times, which usually I don't go back and reread the lyrics. Sometimes I do, but it's not very common. But there's that line. Right? And now, of course, now that I'm doing the video and the camera's on, I'm forgetting the line, of course. Oh, I am the beast that I worship. I am the beast I worship. I was really thinking about that line. And that's what started to burrow into my brain and really kind of permeate through all the little chambers that exist, right? Because I just kept thinking about this song and the sound and the lyrics and this just presence that exists within the sound and the song. When I was on vacation, we had a day, we went to the San Diego Zoo, which is great, and of course went by the reptile house, because you have to. I love looking at snakes.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do. My wife is not a fan. But she went anyway, because she cares about us a little bit. Enough to stand, I don't know, 10 minutes worth of snakes or something like that. Beware reminds me of some of these pit vipers that I saw at the reptile house and the San Diego Zoo. These just gnarly, still, yet, you know they can strike out at any moment. They blend in, yet they're perfectly visible. They're incredible, yet dangerous. I mean, there's just this thing about vipers, right? I mean, they look incredible. They're incredible species. And yet, at the same time, they're deadly. They can kill you. It's crazy, right? And so that was kind of the initial process of beware and just this presence within the song. And as I kept thinking about it and I was reading through comments, some people were talking about how, I guess, Death Grips, they've got some, they're kind of into the occult and whatever. And, you look at the lyrics and you can see that there. And then you think about some of the drug use and maybe how that is affecting people's minds. And then you take that into the idea of, okay, what I was talking about, how he's kind of, calling out hip hop and, rejecting record labels and all this other stuff. I think it goes so much more beyond that. I think it's a combination of all these things where you've got MC Ride, who, I did find one interview where he was talking and it was him and Zach, and he looks so insanely bored, right? Like, just does not want to be there, talking about the music, talking to this interviewer, whatever. So uninteresting to him. And I kind of got to this position of, I feel like Beware is this perfect culmination of a person who has, done drugs, had some crazy trips, seen some things, combined with somebody who has probably read some crazy books and heard some crazy talks or whatever, whatever you want to blend in with the occult or whatever, combined with somebody who looks at hip hop and goes, I don't want anything to do with that at all. You think about the Charles Manson sample that's at the very beginning where he talks about he's the king of the underworld and he doesn't need any of this stuff, right? And I just get this impression of a guy who, where on the initial reaction I was talking about how it's almost like anti-hip hop. I feel like this whole thing is anti-existence as we know it. Like, it is the active rejection of current day society on almost every level. On a material level, on a spiritual level, on an intellectual level, like just everything. And so then I started thinking about Beware and the fact that this is their debut mixtape. It's the first track off of the mixtape. And I was like, man, this is like a, almost like a mission statement, for Death Grips. But that's not true, because the mission statement is something that people use to say, okay, here's our core values and here's what we're going to strive to do. This is our goal in the future and, throughout the company or whatever you want to call it. This isn't a mission statement. This is a fucking war banner. This is MC Ride taking his white t-shirt, a pair of pliers, pulling out his own tooth, spitting it out into the shirt, wiping his face, and then holding up the shirt and declaring war on everything. Basically, that was the final conclusion I came to with Beware. That was the impression I got after just obsessing over this song and listening to it over and over again. And if you think about it in terms of like just anti-culture, I am the beast I worship. I'm not trying to be anti-hip-hop. I'm not going to try and do these other... No, I just am that. I actively reject all of it. And I don't have to prove it because I am that. There you go. That's me geeking out on Beware. Something else I noticed too while all of this was spinning around in my head, it just kind of like popped out like a loose bolt. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't go through and reread all the lyrics. You know, I've been listening to the songs. I don't think there's one use of the N-word in this album at all, which that in itself is almost anti-hip-hop in a way. I just found that interesting. I know, I figured I'd toss that out there. You guys can kind of chew on that and think about it and, you know, leave a comment if you have something that goes with it. But I just found that interesting. I don't know. Incredible album. My wife heard about 3 minutes of it, hates it, wants nothing to do with it. Not surprising at all. I really didn't play it for her because I knew she wouldn't like it. There was a couple of times over the weekend where I was at my desk with my headphones on. She's like, you could have your music on if you want. No, that's okay. It's okay. You know, last week I was, you know, tossing around the idea, okay, what about House of Balloons and is it a 10 and all this other stuff. And then I backed off a little bit. It is hard to say for me that Exmilitary is not a 10. I think the only thing maybe is because it's so intense, you're not going to always want to listen to it. That is one of my requirements, is you can put it on at any time. That's the harder part for things that are metal, is if you're just not in that mood, you know, I really don't feel like listening to this right now, you know? So that's the only downside of having that kind of criteria to define a 10 for an album. But holy fuck, man. Even with the back half, feeling like it just backs off the throttle a little bit. This is an incredible album. Incredible album. I'm so glad I listened to it. Ike, I'm glad you shifted me from Powers That Be to this one. I don't know which one's going to be next. I really want to do Bottomless Pit. A lot of people are talking about Powers That Be. That's a longer album, so it takes a long time to do. Anyway, there you go. There's really my experience with Exmilitary in a nutshell. I know I focused a lot on Beware because I think it's just an incredible song. Incredible song. I've never heard anything like that. The intensity in just the total give a fuck. This is what we are. Don't care if you like it. Don't care if anybody buys a record or goes to show. This is the music we're going to make, and take it or leave it. I love it. It's amazing. And I was just going to talk about the tracks, but all I'm going to say is how I like them all. So I guess it doesn't really matter. So there you go. There's Exmilitary. Additional thoughts. Friday is finally the Super Friday I've been teasing for so long. Daytona, yay, Kids See Ghosts, all on the same day. It's all going to be different videos. So that's coming Friday. It's going to be a long day for me, but that's okay. I don't mind. The format, I'll probably post this again for people who don't watch this, but the format's going to be I'll record a reaction, upload it to my video host for Patreon, record, upload. So the patrons will get all the reactions, the uncut reactions first, because it's just easier that way. And then when I'm done with the final upload, I'll start working on the edits in order. So hopefully I'm done by mid-afternoon, but we'll see how long it takes. It'll take a little bit of time. Anyway, there you go. Loved it. Exmilitary is incredible. Incredible album, man. And I feel like it's not even really hip-hop. I want to call it more metal. But what's cool about it is it just exists in its own vein. Like, there is no definition for what it is. It just is. It is the beast. Oh, and I should say, it's a fire jam as well. All right, we'll see you guys.